Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for this life, Spirit. Thank you for this life. Thank you for this life, Spirit. Thank you for this life. This wonderful, this wonderful, this wonderful life. This wonderful, this wonderful, this wonderful life. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing day, this healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day. Thank you, God, for this day. Thank you, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day. Reaching out, reaching up, turning within. That's where we find ourselves with that thank you for this day. That's where we find it. I am the Reverend Dr. Sidney Lehman Steen, and I want to welcome you to the Unity Spiritual Center of Portland. We are here as a spiritual community to support you in all of your movements from understanding to greater understanding, from evolution to greater evolution, and to midwife you from a place of hesitation, of thinking that you might be limited in some way, whatever that belief might be, into that place of knowing the true essence of who you are. Because innately, you are divine.
You come from divine. And I think that we are seeing a radical forgetting of that in our world right now. And it's fascinating as we begin to awaken to the remembrance. And before we start the service, I want to read something to you, and this actually won't count as my opening prayer. I'm giving cues to Laura. Gosh, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I've missed you. You look so much like you did a year and a half ago. Except better. So this is from Thich Nhat Hanh, and it's from a book of his called Being Peace, also published in Lion's Roar. And I've edited it a little bit. It is a prayer for peace. And gosh, anybody have an interesting week? Anybody go through some stuff? Anybody see something? Oh, there are hands being raised in the sanctuary. By the way, we're here in a distanced, safe, protocol positive, protocol forward way. So if you're local and you want to come join us, bring your mask. We'd love to have you. The chairs are all, gosh, they look like they're about 15 feet apart, and this is a good place to be. The world seems to be on fire. Yay. Yay. Don't get stuck in the thinking that this is how it is. This is how transformation happens. This is how the old paradigms begin to unravel and come apart. Discomfort is the hallmark of growth. Discomfort is the hallmark of evolution. Discomfort means that yes, we are ready, and yes, we are here, and yes, we are recognizing that there is a need for a greater awareness. So I'm going to read this. And he originally wrote this as a prayer for Vietnam. Homage to all Buddhas in the 10 directions. Because of your love for all people, have compassion on us. Help us remember we are just one family, north and south. Help us rekindle our compassion and brotherhood and transform our separate interests into loving acceptance for all. Humbly we open our hearts to you so you may help us transform our karma and water the flowers of our spirits. With your deep understanding, help our hearts grow light. I am determined to cultivate only thoughts that increase trust and love, to use my hands to perform only deeds that build a community, to speak only words of harmony and aid. May the merit of this prayer be transformed into peace for our country and our world. May each of us realize this, our deep aspiration. And with that consciousness, I'm going to invite you to join me in the collective knowing as we bring this service to its official opening, as I do our invocation. So we gather in this consciousness, whether we are in the room, on the planet, it doesn't matter, because I know that we are fully joined on the seen and unseen side of life by the infinite power and presence, that spirit which I call God, which I call love, which is infinite intelligence. We have been invited here into this time and place, not just this date, but into this place in which we have all pressed through into this global experience so that we may awaken, so that we may create, so that we may bring to this world our gifts, our knowing, our love, our joy, our wholeness, which is already there. May we know it. May we celebrate it. It is from that place of wholeness that we choose now to dive into this service today. We dive into this knowing that that which needs to be heard is heard. That which needs to be said or sung is absolutely done so. It is expressed. We are fully celebratory of God, of spirit, of love. For that is our true nature, and nothing and no one can stand in the way of that, including ourselves. For it is the field in which we live, and it is that which surrounds and fills us and defines us. It divines us. How wonderful that we get to come together. I intend that this time together is in full alignment with the intention of God for expansion, for expression, for growth, for great knowing. And that all of us are somehow shifted by the end of this time together into perhaps just a little greater knowing of peace, a little greater knowing of love, a little greater knowing of our wholeness, because we have shifted into a much greater knowing of our oneness with God and all humanity. I am so grateful. I am grateful that we are here for this. And I release this word, and I give thanks, and I say, and so it is. All right, so I'm glad that you are here. I'm just going to give you a few little announcements. Most of them we're going to do at the end of the service, and then we are going to dive into a meditation and the message itself. So, check out our new website, unityofportland.org. It is beautiful. It is clean. It is clear. It's user-friendly. The tabs all work efficiently and beautifully. I hope that you will do that. unityofportland.org. And what's really nice about it is you can not only link to it just to admire the expansive creativity that has gone into it, but you know what? You can click on a link and you can give to support this community, thereby exercising your faith and your spiritual practice, because giving is a spiritual practice. It's not because it's a transactional occurrence, it's a spiritual practice. So I invite you to do that. And what else do I want to tell you real quick? Oh, Tuesday, and I'll talk about this again. We have a Zoom link that is sent to everyone on our mailing list on Tuesday morning, which, by the way, if you're not on it, send an email to unityofportland.org and say, I want to be on the mailing list, because this happens Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. It's our next meeting of Better Together, which is an ongoing conversation about social justice, about racial equity, about healing those wounds, healing those divisions, and recognizing who we are, recognizing what we've done, owning that, and healing it. So this week we'll be listening to Sharon Mitchell. She's going to be telling her story, which is fascinating and humbling. We're going to unpack the events that occurred at the Capitol this week. I know you're aware of them. And so, as I said, that link will be out on Tuesday morning. That's as much as I'm going to say right now, because what I'd really like to do is instead go into a meditation. So get yourself comfortable. Take that big sip of coffee. Take some water. Chew on that donut. Get your puppy or your kitten. And just allow yourself to relax into this time and place. Be where your body is. Release the thoughts of this last week. Release the thoughts of the next week. And let this music carry you into a place of connection, of knowing, of clarity, for that is the truth of who and what you are.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see that there is only love. Yeah. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. Oh, love, love that heals and sets us free. There is only
beyond the fields of opinion, beyond the fields of right and wrong, beyond those places where we have anchored with people, with places and things. Beyond all of that, there is a divine field. And right here and right now, I meet you there. Because Spirit meets us there and calls us into that field. And it is that field of divine, infinite potentiality. And it is only love. Surrendering everything else. Blessing the thoughts as they dance across my mind. I simply embrace that I am here in and as that field. And I say yes to that which Spirit would have me know. And I listen in the silence, this sacred, sacred silence within. I say yes. I say yes. I say yes. I look to the most powerful, most creative word there is, let. Let me be in that yes. Let me listen. Let me allow. For I am the I am. I am love. I am that which is well beyond opinion, well beyond appearances. I am the I am. I am love. I am peace. And I let it be so. I let it be so for my entire being as it guides me. It leads me and holds me like a beautiful, warm, soft blanket. I am ushered into the yes that is God. And it is good. It is very good. And so it is. Amen.
My word can move my soul where I can't imagine, but it is happening. One turn to my soul could open up the door to so much more. I've been wasting my dreams on hours I sleep, but this time I believe. Whoa, are worth saying. Dreams are worth claiming now. Hear me when I speak. And my fear, it is not real. No, it is not real. It's just another lie, and it cuts me down to size. And I'm here for the very first time, and I'm here like I am born again, and the world is opening. I've been wasting my dreams on hours that I sleep, but this time I believe that words are worth saying. Dreams are worth claiming now. Hear me when I speak. Hear me, oh, and it's the only voice that's changed my life. It's changed my life. Yes, it has. And it declares that happiness is my right. Oh, yeah. It's my right, my word can move my soul. It moves my soul now, where I can't imagine, but it is happening. I've been wasting my dreams on hours that I sleep, but this time I believe that words are worth saying. Dreams are worth claiming now. Well, hear me, God, hear me. I've been wasting my dreams on hours that I sleep. Oh, but this time I believe, yeah, their words are worth saying. Oh, dreams are worth claiming now. Claim it now and hear me when I speak. Hear me when I speak. Hear me, hear me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Laura. Man, I was so glad when I found out you were going to be doing the music today. I did a happy dance. Fact or truth? Fact or truth? I came up with an acronym several months ago for the word fact, because we look out in the world and we see things that appear to be carved in stone. Our conscious minds say, well, that's just the way it is. And yet there's a greater truth, and I will be talking about that. It is that capital T spiritual truth, which we visited in our meditation and in our opening prayer, which is about the fact that we live in a greater presence, a greater field, a greater idea called God, called spirit, called love, whatever you want to call it, but we swim and move in it. The acronym for FACT that I came up with is Fluid Assessment of a Current Trend. Fluid assessment of a current trend. Facts change. Have you noticed? Anybody ever read history where the world was flat for a long, long time. That changed because that was the assessment of the current trend. The world isn't flat. There's so much more to it. So we're going to look at that. Rumi wrote that the art of knowing is knowing what to ignore. And he also wrote, protect yourself from your own thoughts. Anybody have any success doing that this week? Protect yourself from your own thoughts. And protect yourself, by the way, from other thoughts and other opinions from other people, because they will be happy to hijack your process and your attitude and say, come on over here. The water's really fine. Well, it's really muddy and it's awful, but I don't want to be alone. So let's all just play in the mud together. The events in our nation's capital this last week may have found you anywhere on that spectrum, from fear, denial, cynicism, to hope, compassion, or even wishful thinking. There's a whole spectrum, and they're all fine. Everything that you reacted and responded with are normal and authentic reactions to chaos and shocking behaviors. And while it would be easier and less triggering for me to say, cultivate a safe and magical place of blissful ignorance, go to unicorns and pink fairy dust, I'm not going to do that, because it's not useful, nor is it healthy. And some of you have been hearing me long enough to know that I really take to heart that the point of ministry is to comfort the afflicted and absolutely afflict the comfortable. So we are in a place of discomfort, and it is not a place to be avoided. It is a place to be cultivated. It is a place to be cultivated because it means that there is shift, there is transformation going on. I'm going to invite all of us to turn and face what is happening so we can do a very deep dive into who we want to be in this. It's not about what's going on, it's who we choose to be in it. It's not about what is going on, it's who we choose to be in it. So it's really tempting to get engaged with all of the stuff in the world. But it's incumbent upon those of us on a spiritual path. And by the way, we're all on a spiritual path, whether you like it, agree with it, or know it. Admit it or not, we're there. And so we are spiritual beings in a spiritual universe, living according to spiritual laws. I do not ascribe to the idea that we are spiritual beings in a human world. I do not ascribe to that, because what I know is that my soul is governed by something deeper. Your soul is governed by something deeper. We are all governed and divined by something deeper. We are divine beings, spiritual beings. So what matters is not what is going on out there, those facts, so much as how we respond and how we choose to be in the midst of the storm. So there's more going on at this spiritual level of 2021. And it's not just 2021 turning to 2020 and saying, yeah, really? Here, hold my beer, watch this. There's a lot more happening. So are we going to be victims of circumstance and cut ourselves off from those we disagree with? Or will we stand forth in our knowing that, take a deep breath here, it's all God? Walter Starkey wrote one of my favorite books in the world, and I refer to it often. The title is It's All God, the Fertilizer and the Flowers. It's all part of it. So you can choose to put your fingers in your ears, and I've done this. We do it, as long as you don't stay there, but you can go la, 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 and do your work in your journal, and instead of saying today is January 10th, 2021, you might actually want to just say today is December 41st, 2020. But we really need to wake up and realize that we stand on the precipice of spiritual adulthood and universal transformation. We are at that place, yes, of what Eckhart Tolle said was a new earth, a new heaven and a new earth. And it's time to get with the program. We have to get with the program. So pull up your big girl pants and your big boy pants and strap in, because we're going to do the work of conscious awakening. Individual awakening must precede collective global awakening. Individual transformation must precede global and collective transformation. So I go to Ralph Waldo Emerson a lot. He's one of my spiritual go-tos. I could call him my spirit animal, but human, divine, wonderful, limitless being. And he wrote, "You are constantly invited to be what you are." You are constantly invited to be what you are. So on the simple individual level, this might mean that we have talents, we have gifts, and we are being called to express them, to give them uniquely, wonderfully, because no one can do what you can do. No one can. I have heard some of those songs that Laura has sung before, but no one does them the way she does. She doesn't do them like anybody else. We are unique individual beings. We all bring our gift to it. Her DNA is entirely different from someone else, and it's so fantastic because we need all of it. So you might have that deep desire to write and perform music. You might have a gift for mathematics and for science. Or maybe you are born to be the best darn gardener in the neighborhood. You might be like my son who lives and dies for airplanes and airports and everything that flying involves. Maybe you sew, you bake, you repair cars, or you do Reiki. I don't care what it is. It's that these gifts are all part of this greater puzzle, this greater combination, this greater alchemy of us being together. These urgings, these pulls towards expressing, creating are vital and absolutely demonstrating our innate divinity. So nobody can do what you can do precisely the way you do it. That's why you matter. You have value, and you are part of the divine scheme of things. But there is a greater circle. There's a greater context. And that, my beloveds, is to wake up and to recognize you're magnificent, because you do. When you recognize your magnificence, everybody else gets permission to live from theirs as well. Course in Miracles tells us that everything we do carries with it the energy with which we do it. So here we are being collectively invited, or perhaps demanded, by our souls to do what we do, to do our lives with that great energy of awakening and transformation, to bring that to it. And again, personal awakening must precede collective and global awakening. Personal transformation must precede collective and global transformation. This whole awakening, could there be any greater quantum alarm clock trying to wake us than that one called 2020? Could there be anything that could ring louder to awaken us, to let us know that there's stuff going on here? Let's recap, shall we? Global pandemic, Australian bushfires, California fires, Colorado fires, Washington state fires, once-in-a-millennium windstorms which produced insane Oregon fires, locusts in Africa. Oh, more global pandemic, an impeached president, maybe twice, economic chaos, people stockpiling toilet paper, what? Black Lives Matter protests, people of color being shot, BIPOC, people of color and in indigenous cultures being singled out simply because of the color of their skin. Murder hornets. Oh, Australian tides. Anybody hear about this one? Filled with venomous snakes. You thought it was safe to go back in the water? Not so much. 2020 Olympics were canceled. Confederate statues came down. But there's some things you probably didn't hear about that will really, really anchor in your mind how crazy 2020 was, and really is a call for awakening. A Bolivian orchestra was stranded in a haunted German castle, this is true, for 73 days during the pandemic, surrounded by packs of wolves. The Pentagon released footage of UFOs. Nobody noticed. Scientists found evidence of possible life on Mars and water on the moon, and nobody noticed. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan left the United Kingdom for America, and not a lot of people noticed. United Kingdom left the European Union. Barbados left the United Kingdom. The Boy Scouts filed for bankruptcy. The movie musical Cats was voted worst film of the year by the Razzies. Anybody see it? Yeah, okay. The Kardashians, well, we'll just say that. Lakers won the playoffs. The Pope backed same-sex civil unions. Dodgers won the World Series. I'm from Southern California. This means a lot to me. Baby Shark became the most watched video on YouTube. 7.4 billion views, by the way. A competitive form of breakdancing was confirmed as an Olympic sport for the Paris 2024 Games, breaking. I think that's awesome. And finally, proving that 2020 was as bad as we thought it was, Merriam-Webster legitimized the word irregardless. Because at this point, why not? Why not, right? So, if we don't take time to laugh, we're going to forget how. I really think so. You know, I believe it was Voltaire who wrote, God is like a comedian playing to an audience who's afraid to laugh. And I feel sometimes like that's really so. We need to allow that light from within us to connect us to light and to humor so that we can move beyond it into a place of wisdom and love. Rumi wrote, always remember you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you'd ever imagined. And he also wrote, don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth. Unfold your own myth. And that is what we have to consider. That's what we need to look at. Our lives are about so much more than what we see, what we hear, and what we experience. Our lives are the entrance points. They are that place, the actual conduits, and the vehicles for the expression of God. You know, I see that our world appears to be filled with a lot of people who have become very enamored with the catastrophic, dedicated to the disastrous, and adrenalized by destruction. And for many, it's become a mindset and even an expectation. And it's really easy to get addicted to that. So check yourself. What's your mindset? Are you addicted to it? Are you looking at these things and saying, well, that's just how it is now. That's 2020. That's 2021. Give me a break. Come on now. Those are indicators of transformation. They are indicators of awakening. They are indicators of the old making way for the wholeness. So if you were choosing to go into 2021 with our 2020 construct or 2020 shock, awe, and outrage as context, then you and I are going to miss the purpose of 2020. I really believe that the purpose of this last year was to reveal, dismantle, deconstruct, and literally break through and leave behind the systems and paradigms which don't serve humanity. They don't serve humanity. So my question then, what if everything is part of the awakening and the birth of spiritual unfoldment? Are we willing to consider that? Are we willing to consider that it's all God, the fertilizer and the flowers? I've been working with a concept, a psychological concept for a long time called the drama triangle, and it's really powerful. I call it a system of personal interrogation and questioning. It emerged in the 60s, and for me it has been an incredible tool for reclaiming my sense of worth and my empowerment and my choice. So this is how it functions. If you picture an equilateral triangle, on one side lives the personal perception and commitment to being a victim. On another side lives the personal perception and commitment that heroes save victims. And on that third side, and they're not assigned, they can switch and they can move. On the third side is the fulfillment of both of those perceptions and commitments, the perpetrator. So here's the formula. If you have a victim, there must be a persecutor or a perpetrator, a victimizer. And if there's a persecutor to be saved or rescued from, then apparently you need a hero. So the cycle is one of dysfunctional interdependency. It is an unconscious process, and it is exploited by advertisers, by politicians, And we live on that triangle until we recognize that we are working according to this idea of right now I'm a victim. Oh, that person did it to me. I hope somebody can save me from this. Maybe it's going to be, I'm a victim. I need to lose weight. My weight is the enemy and chocolate cake is the enemy. Maybe this diet product will save me. This person's going to steal my job. They're the perpetrator. They're the enemy. And here's this politician who's going to save me. We want a hero. We want a hero. And this is the quickest way to move yourself to an external God, is to jump into that triangle and to believe in victimization, to believe that you have to be saved and that there are others who are out there to exploit you and to hurt you. If we think we are defective and that somebody else might be waiting in the wings to take what is ours and exploit us, then clearly only a hero can save us, right? Can fix what's wrong. Victims require perpetrators, require heroes, and on and on and on. If you think of someone as from another color or culture and they're coming for your job, then you're the victim, right? You can put yourself in the victim place. That other is the persecutor, and the political candidate who can stoke the most fear and offer the biggest rescue, the biggest palliative, is the hero you're going to support. Because it feels to us that if somebody else can save us, we won't have to do as much work. We have to do the work. This is about spiritual adulthood. This is about coming into ownership of our lives, of our stuff, of excavating it, of interrogating the beliefs, and moving into conscious partnership with the divine. Now, the divine's going to respond. The law, spiritual law, responds to us whether we are conscious of it or not. You know, Ernest Holmes wrote that ignorance of spiritual law excuses no one from the effects. We are all going to be subject to cause and effect. We are all going to be subject to cause and effect. That's how this works. But what if we are committed to recognizing that we are participating in this process and choose instead to live our lives in full dedication and the perception of our own innate sacredness, our worthiness, and our infinite potential? If you knew, what if you knew you were God in expression and manifestation? What if you knew that? I know that for you. I know that. And that's why we have these centers, whether it's Unity, Center for Spiritual Living, Divine Science, Course in Miracles. We know this. And it's almost like having a rent-a-consciousness. So you can come into this place, and we will know it for you as you move into knowing it for yourself. We midwife each other as we walk each other home, as Rumi would say. Now, I want you to understand, and I'm not saying that you are all that God is, but all that you are is God. That's all you are. It means that we have the power to create and to think from the most profound level of possibility and potential. But we have to take radical responsibility for our thoughts, our behaviors, our actions, our beliefs, the effects of our beliefs, and choose to live in full awake awareness that we are limitless, divine beings, made in divine image. Transformation is not a one-and-done, quick fix kind of thing. There are deep questions to ask and deep answers to be excavated. Wayne Dyer wrote, "Transformation literally means going beyond your form." Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. It doesn't say, be ye comfortably shifted. That's not the gospel writing. May you be somewhat irritated to grow a little bit. No, may you be absolutely transformed. May you be transformed. So I think that what we are all invited to invoke right now in the sacred year of 2021 is the transformation that happened when we realize we are enough. We are enough. That we say yes to the universal law, the truth that there is enough. There is enough. The global shift required of us is that concept, enough. There is enough, you are enough, and all of us are worthy enough to live in peace and wholeness. Enough comes from knowing we are one with and one of God. See, God is infinite. God is absolutely infinite. And if we are part of God, then we are infinite. If God is limitless abundance, then we are that limitless abundance. And the ones who are standing in the way of that is us. We are the ones who have chosen to assess a current trend, fact, instead of moving into cultivating, and we have to cultivate belief, instead of moving into intentional knowing, realization, and nourishment of the idea that we are one with and one of God. You know, religion has done a horrible job of teaching us that we're not just living out our lives on some massive, sick drama triangle. And yet, collectively, that's where the world appears to be right now. We have victims, heroes, we have perpetrators. Aren't we tired of that? Aren't we tired of that? Wouldn't it be so much easier to move away from the blame of the perpetrator, the shame of the victim, the need to have a hero, and to become instead spiritual adults? You know, I think in some ways, because many of us grew up believing that we are victims, that the perpetrator was a devil of some sort, that the heroic rescue could only come from salvation. So there's an archetype that we have embraced and we live from. We have basically put Jesus in a cape and made him a superhero. He's able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And it's this idea that is planted within us, by the way, our sense of separation, of duality, a need to suffer existential guilt simply from being alive, putting our power out here rather than our choice here. You know, the great thinkers and founders of modern New Thought saw what humanity was doing to make Jesus a magic hero. And Charles Fillmore gave us this fantastic understanding of the metaphysical Jesus. Jesus is the divine that walked the earth in full awareness of his spiritual identity. You and I are that Jesus. We are the divine that walks the earth in full awareness when we choose to awaken of our spiritual identity. If we're not living in the full awakeness of that, then our lives are going to appear to not be expressing that, right? Because it is done unto us as we believe. It is done unto us as we believe. That's what Jesus taught. It is done unto you as you believe. You know, we like to quote this Rumi quote, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop." And he also wrote this, "What? Are you still pretending you are separate from the beloved? Are you still pretending? This is time to awake." So Jesus taught us, the kingdom is within you, it shall be done unto you. In the Tao, we read, thus it is the Tao, produces all things, nourishes them, brings them to their full growth, nurses them, completes them, matures them, maintains them, and overspreads them. The Upanishads. Whoever knows the God that is without commencement, without end, who within this impervious world is the creator of the universe, who is of an infinite form, the one perpetrator of the universe becomes liberated from all bonds. In the Talmud, know that thou art always in God's presence. And the consciousness of God's presence is the first principle of religion. You know, everything we've seen in the last year, if we chose to embrace it and define ourselves by it, would convince us that we are separate from God. That's not going to work for me. If we think we are separate from the God we desire, we automatically set ourselves up for blame, for shame, for regret, for jealousy, fear, superstition, and trauma. If we think we are separate from the good we desire, we automatically set ourselves up for shame, for blame, for regret, and from jealousy, fear, superstition, and trauma. So we stand at the edge of our comfort zones and our broken paradigms. We cannot go back to those paradigms. We cannot go back. There are those who would like to say that they were better, they were easier, they were more comfortable. That is sentimental nonsense. They weren't. They might have been for a select group of people, but the selection process has changed. Because who selected them? Not me. Not me. We are all select. We are all divine. All of us are divine. All of us are here as divine beings. We are here to move beyond that old thinking into Some people call it tipping point, critical mass, into this new awareness. Because once again, I want to say it, individual transformation and awakening must precede the collective awakening and transformation. It must. It must. Ernest Holmes wrote, "The sum total of all erroneous human belief binds until the individual mentally lifts himself up above the law of averages into the higher law of spiritual individualism." That means we move ourselves up above false constructs of there isn't enough, that someone is better than somebody else, that someone is more deserving than somebody else, that someone is a victim, that someone is a hero. My friend David Alexander wrote this and posted it yesterday. "Whiteness is a false construct and a diseased form of consciousness that sits at the heart of our collective dysfunction." So it's really tempting to hold on to the stuff that's familiar and safe. But we are called on to leave that. Our buddy Emerson wrote, "Be not the slave of your own past. Plunge into the sublime seas, dive deep, and swim far. So you shall come back with new respect, with new power, and with an advanced experience that shall explain and overlook the old." Boy, that sounds so much better to me. Doesn't it sound better? Wouldn't you rather have that, to dive deep into that? When Ernest Holmes said this, "The world is beginning to realize it has learned all it should through suffering and pain," I recognized that I had learned all I needed to learn through suffering and pain. You and I have learned all we need to learn through suffering and pain. And if we are going to resist this transformation, this birth into this newness, this new heaven, this new earth, then we will have suffering and pain. I want to invite you to move past that. Create and choose who you want to be in these times of transformation, of shift, of realignment. Choose to do it based on your wholeness, not your fear. Create from possibility, not blame. Be lifted by your dreams, not tied down by resentments. Show the world who you are as a beautiful and worthy creation of spirit. Step outside of your expectations and dare to live from an expectancy of God, of good. You may need to let go of some relationships. You may need to let go of ways to relating to people. That's okay. That's okay. The world needs you to bring your talents, give your gifts, and to sing your song as loud and as long as you can. Transformation is not for sissies. It's not for wimps. And you have not been given the spirit of fear, but of power and of love. You are the light of the world. So go shine for all to see. And so it is. Beautiful souls. Thank you. Give us a song.
Do we have the offering first?
I'm going to change it up. Go ahead and
Okay.
sing, then we'll do it.
Okay, we're live, everyone.
We're switching it up.
You and me, we once believed it was a good thing. Then one by one, we came undone, like a weed dimmed the sun. And I want to see that now isn't how we want to be. Oh, it's all on the table. We are breakable, sometimes shakeable, but always we are always indestructible, us and them. Oh, take the attention, we lost direction. Oh, and we've got to hold on what we think we know, but still don't get too close. Oh, I want to see that now isn't how we want to be. Oh, it's all on the table. We are shakeable, sometimes breakable, but always, we are always indestructible. Rattle the walls, lean in and fall, and count to 10, and try again. Oh, oh, try again, yeah. Well, I wanna see that now isn't how we wanna be. Oh, it's all on the table. We are indestructible. We are indestructible. Sometimes breakable, but we are indestructible. Yes, we are.
Indestructible. Indestructible. The shell might break free. The flower is going to come up and break through the sidewalk, but that which is within that is indestructible. That's you and me. So if you are resonating with this, and if you are feeling like you are ready to move into this place of knowing greater indestructibility, did I just make up a word? Possibly. It's okay. I want to invite you to support this center, to support this idea, to support what we do as part of your spiritual awakening, as part of your spiritual practice, your faith. And you can do that by texting Unity of Portland, one word, to the number 77977. And you're seeing it right now on your screen. That's one way of doing it. You will be prompted. You can do it on a regular basis or an irregular basis. And you're going to be prompted to do exactly what you need to do. You can also give at our website, unityofportland.org. And we love snail mail. You can send us a check. You can send it to Unity of Portland or Unity Spiritual Center of Portland. The bank knows us with all of those names. 4525 Southeast Stark, Portland, Oregon, 97215. Please know that we are here with you supporting. So if you're at home right now with that offering, with that idea of that offering, perhaps you're doing it on a regular basis, I'm just going to invite you to take that idea, that light. Imagine yourself holding that check, that amount, that whatever it is, hold it to your heart and say with me right now, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I bless all of these offerings. Know that they come back to you, pressed down and overflowing, and that they do good work in our world. They support this center. They support these ideas of unfoldment, of healing, of wholeness, of light, of children free and safe, of all people loved. I want to give you a couple of announcements, and then we're going to call it a day. Oh, Amnesty International, we do a thing every year. It's called Right for Rights. We write letters for the rights of those people who are held in custody, that we believe should be released. So the last day to mail a letter is January 31st. You can see the newsletter and all the information and a link to Amnesty International website. Again, if you're not getting our newsletter, please go ahead, send an email to unityofportland.org or admin@unityofportland. Diane's just about to tell me. Sign up on the website. New information, a transformation, a new paradigm has been born. Sign up on the website and you can get that newsletter. Join Reverend Dick. Gosh, we love Reverend Dick. For his class, A New Earth. Awakening to Your Life's Purpose by Eckhart Tolle. 11-week class. It begins this week, January 13th. It's from 7 to 8:30, and there are registration links on both the newsletter and the website. And as I said, Sharon Mitchell will be speaking for our Better Together Conversation Tuesday, but also she's going to be starting a class using the book Caste, C-A-S-T-E, which is a profound book. You know, this country was founded on the ideas of caste systems. We think not, but this is a global idea that we are all needing to bust away. We need to get rid of it. January 26th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. There are links on the newsletter and our website. The cost is $100 for both of these classes, whether it's Reverend Dick's class or Sharon Mitchell's, or a love offering of whatever you feel is comfortable for you to give, to commit to. You can pay less, you can pay more. We love you. We want everyone to get these ideas. So if you enjoyed this service, please consider sharing it on your Facebook page. To view our past services, you can visit us on YouTube at Unity of Portland. And I want you to know that our Coffee and Connection is going to begin 5 minutes after our service. And there is a Zoom link on our Facebook page and in the newsletter. So as we move into moving out in the world, I just want to invite everybody to know that all that we see in this world is but the indication that God is going on. This is answered prayer. We get to choose to support it, to nourish it, because global transformation will always be preceded by individual transformation. We must start this within ourselves. And so I invite you to know that we are all together in this. Let's say our unity prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a wonderful week. Remember who you are. You are divine, and so am I, and so it is. Amen.
I wanna see the now is